Have you ever felt like you're one step away from success, but just can't get there? What if I told you that the secret to breaking through this is not in your actions, but it is in your thoughts? Today, we are diving into the first chapter of Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. We are going to explore the power of thought and how it can shape our reality. Stay tuned to discover how a burning desire, your persistence, and the right mindset can turn your dreams into reality. I have read the entire chapter and taken detailed notes on the most important points. So if you are ready to go through this chapter with me and really transform your thoughts and your reality, let's get started. I'm just going to be referring to my notes in some of this. So if you see me looking away, it's because I'm reading some of my notes. But the main thing that Napoleon Hill emphasizes is that thoughts are things. And those thoughts that are things, they become even more potent when they are mixed with purpose, persistence, and a burning desire to translate into riches. How I'm going to do this is I'm going to read the point, and then if I have anything that comes up in between those points as far as personal experience over the last week, then I'll just add that in. If you watched last week, I gave you a little homework and I said to really get clear on what you want. And that's so important because things may come at you that look like what you want, but it's not. And you have to keep that in your mind, is that vision of exactly what it is, right? So I hope you did that, and that should be written down on every single piece of paper that you take notes on, is exactly what it is that you want. So the first thing that I noted was that thoughts are things. And again, the beginning is always a burning desire for something. I had learned from early experience with men that when a man really desires a thing so deeply that he is willing to stake his entire future on a single turn of the wheel in order to get it, he is sure to win. So that was a little passage kind of behind the secret of things, because they don't really say, oh, here it is, exactly the secret of everything. They say, pay attention and you'll find it. And I think that what I have found is that it is that burning desire to have something. And it's not just like, say for instance, money, but it's the core of that. Like what is the feeling or the emotion or the bottom line behind it? Like, why would anyone want $1 million? I know for me, it's to have security. That for me is everything. And so when I know that I'm secure, I can do anything, right? So that is what I want. I want that security to be able to have fun, to be able to play, to be able to go places where I want, right? It's that freedom that comes with security. So for me, that's what it's about. And it helps me get behind it much more than if I just say, oh, I want $1 million. No, I want security to be able to buy what I want when I want, and knowing that I'm not going to go homeless, you know. That also comes with a lot of other things involved with it, right? But like, it's the core thing. And so that is so huge. But I've always had a burning desire for security, and it doesn't matter at what cost. Like, I will continue to work at making sure that I'm secure, my kids are secure. And that requires health and wealth, right? You lose your health, you lose your security. I mean, to me, that's what it is for me. Okay, so there is a story about a man named Barnes, and he has a burning desire to work with Thomas Edison. and he will stop at nothing. And there was a point that was said in the book that it said it was not the man's appearance that got him the opportunity with Edison. It was the thought that counted. If the significance of that statement could be conveyed to every person who reads it, there would be no need for the remainder of the book. So it didn't matter his outer appearance. It didn't matter the outer anything. It was just his thought and this burning desire that he had to work for him, right? But Barnes did not get the partnership with Mr. Edison right away. So just so you understand that, he was only given the opportunity to work in the offices. So Barnes wanted to be his partner. He didn't want to just work in the offices, but it took a long time for him to for the opportunity to come to be able to partner with him. So this is something totally different, and you got to catch this. Like, yeah, he wanted to be his partner, but he was given the opportunity to work in the offices. I mean, that's huge, right? And he knew his opportunity would come, but sometimes you have to take that lower thing or be willing to just work in the office for a while. So months went by, and he was constantly intensifying his desire to become Mr. Edison's associate. So that's really important too. I think, well, all of these are main points, so they're all really important, but I just want to emphasize the fact that, you know, he got this great idea. He had no money. He jumped on a train, like he jumped on the back of a train to get there. And, you know, he shows up there and he's like, I want to work with Mr. Edison, and I have to work, you know, I need to work here, whatever. And he wasn't going to be his partner, but he was able to work in the offices. So sometimes it takes, you know, some time. But let's see. Okay, let's go on to the next point. People would tell a different story if only they would adopt a definite purpose and stand by it until it had time to come to an all-consuming obsession. Okay. So I think for me, I kind of have a personal story, a little bit about this, but yeah, for me, I don't think that I've narrowed down the purpose. I think for me, it really comes down to that security. I just do so much better when I know that, you know, I'm safe, I'm secure. I mean, that's our basic need. But honestly, money is very important when it comes to your security. Your home is very important when it comes, your mind, your body, your, you know, just having security is really important to me. So there have been so many times where I have not had security, and I was still taken care of, but you're in survival mode, and you can't think and you can't function right. And I had PTSD really bad. I still have moments where I struggle with it, but you know, it comes down to knowing that I'm safe and secure. And there was an all-consuming obsession in me to feel whole again, to feel better. And it didn't matter what it was going to take. I needed to get there. And I don't think I'll ever arrive, you know, at that, but I've come so far that I know I'll always work on it, but like 95% of the way I'm there. And so I'm so proud of myself, but like just the drive and determination it took to get there was incredible to me. And it didn't matter. So that's really important. You know, you have to know your why behind things, because so many things will come at you from different areas that may not, you know, that shake you. And really, it's just to get you stronger, because truly the failure, the setbacks and all that, it's just to make sure that that's what you really want, And I kind of like that, because then it makes you unstoppable. And I think that's how the universe really works with us to get us our manifestation, is to make us so strong that it becomes an obsession. So, okay, next point. One of the tricks of opportunity is that it can come from in a different form or from a different direction than one expects, and even can look like misfortune or temporary defeat. So I was just talking about that, is that those moments are there to strengthen that purpose, is to, because like for myself, I never knew that's what I really wanted until I lost it, right? And when I didn't have the security, that's when I knew that that was the most important thing. And so to have that foundation of, a happy home, to have that foundation of not being worried about being homeless all the time, to have that foundation of money to where it's not, I can pay for everything and not stress. So that is really huge. And to me, that's what it was all about. And it didn't matter. Like, that's what I wanted. And for me to even be doing this type of work required that. Like, I have not been able to be consistent because I was in survival mode. I was constantly trying to, figure it out, get a quick fix, make sure I was okay. Am I safe? Like, I could never calm down to be in thrive mode, because I was always in running mode, right? So you can't create in running mode. You can't think about long-term anything. When you're in survival mode, it is only right now, gotta have it, emergency, fight, flight, or freeze mode. I can't explain it, but for me, I wasn't able to stay consistent because I was in survival mode. So I'm just so grateful right now because I know that I'm coming out of that. That's pretty amazing. The next point is the best asset is the definite knowledge that an intangible impulse of thought can be transmuted into its physical counterpart by the application of known principles. So this is your best asset, okay? It is just the knowledge that no matter what you want, your thought can be transmuted into your physical reality using the known principles from this book. When you know that, you are free. That's your best asset. So, oh gosh, who was it? It's just coming to my mind. Grant Cardone. I don't know the name of the show, but he gave up everything he had for 1 week to be had $100 in his pocket, and he said, "I bet you in 1 week I can create $1 million company again," something like that, right? And he did it, and it's because of that asset right there. He knows that he can do it, that he knows how to do it, and he knows he can do it, and he can recreate it over again. And so it's just that, because if he lost everything, he knows he can do it. So there's no fear there. It takes the fear out of ever losing, because who cares if you lose it? It's just the adventure of making it again, right? I have lost everything quite a few times. And you know what? As I think about it, I really have rebuilt back stronger every time, which is pretty incredible. So I just needed to hear that, you know, like, because when the fear is gone, then it doesn't create from your thoughts anymore. See, I was creating from that fear before of, oh my God, I'm going to lose everything. I'm going to be homeless. It's not going to work out. And then things would happen like that. Whereas now I 100% know that it is okay if everything that I have disappears, because like I can recreate what I have. And so, okay. The next point says that Barnes had nothing to start with except the capacity to know what he wanted and the determination to stand by that desire until it was realized. All right, next point. One of the most common causes of failure is the habit of quitting when one is overtaken by temporary defeat. This one has definitely gotten me so many times. But I will say that sometimes it takes me a while, like, to bounce back from it. But like I said, I just feel like it's building me stronger. And now those, you know, I've reframed failure to know that temporary defeat is just really adding to my success. It's building me stronger. And even though it hurts sometimes, it's, you know, when you know that, it takes, again, like the fear factor out of it. Okay, so there was a story in here about the Darbys, and they had been drilling for gold. I think it was gold. No, not gold. I think it was ore. It was in a mine, but they were extracting and receiving the mineral or whatever from the mine, and then all of a sudden one day it stopped. And they decided to give up the mine. And so this is a very good example of that, quitting when overtaken by temporary defeat, right? So the Darbys had stopped drilling 3 feet from a fault line that would have paid them millions. They sold their equipment to a junk man who sought expert advice before giving up on the mine. So the junk man found an expert, and that expert told him that the fault line was 3 feet away, and the junk man became a millionaire. So before success comes to most people, they are sure to meet with temporary defeat and sometimes failure. So you have to know that, and you have to accept that that's going to be there. And it's okay. It is okay. So next point. Most successful people find that their greatest success comes just one step beyond the point at which defeat had overtaken them. You hear this a lot, and it used to drive me crazy. Like, right at the moment you're about to fail, you know, you'll reach success. That used to drive me crazy when I would hear that, because it never felt like that way to me, and I had a hard time dealing with failure, so I had to reframe that in my mind. And what's so crazy is thoughts become things, right? And so when I was so afraid of failure all the time, then it would come to me so quickly, because I'm attaching this emotion to it, right? This like extreme fear. Well, I don't particularly like failure anymore, but I'm not afraid of it. I accept that failure must come. And when you know that, yeah, sure, it doesn't feel good. Like, you're gonna have moments where you need to take a step back. Like, I'm a very emotional person, so I have to take a step back and deal with my emotions of it. Like, and that's okay, right? Some people have no problem with the emotion of it, but I'm a very emotional person, so I need to deal with those emotions for a minute, and then I can kind of get back into it. But learning that that's me was what helped me to be able to process through those emotions and accept failure more quickly. But yeah, it's never easy for me, but I accept that it's there and that it's part of the process. Okay, next point. Failure is a trickster with a keen sense of irony and cunning. It takes great delight in tripping up one when success is almost within reach. You know, it's true, but I don't like to look at it like that. I just like to look at it as like, okay, this is a temporary thing. I need to deal with my emotions and then I can get back into it. If I look at failure as a trickster with a keen sense of irony and cunning, then it freaks me out, you know? Almost like I feel like it's some sort of entity that is trying to harm me, right? And it's like, no, it's part of the process. It's part of the growth. And so when I take that, when I reframe my thoughts to be what works best for me, that's what works for me. I can probably take that out of there, but I don't know. Okay. So I love this story. It is a story of a little girl who was a sharecropper's daughter, and she ran into the master's home, and the daughter deliberately told him, I must have 50 cents for my mammy. Well, there was 2 people in the room, and there was no way that one of the people thought that the owner was going to give this little girl any 50 cents, right? But she held her ground and she was determined. She said, I'm not leaving until I get that 50 cents. And she finally got it. But it was amazing to see how she had mastered an adult by saying no. I mean, he threatened her. He, told her, what he was going to do. He did all kinds of stuff. But she said, no, I have to have that money. My mammy has to have it. And she was able to get it from that. So it's just strengthening our understanding of when we are determined to get something, then we can have it. So the story of Darby, he was the one that did own the mine before, and he had given it up or sold it 3 feet from the millions, right? But he became a salesman after that. And what he learned was that he accepted that failure, and he became a salesman. And he said that every time a prospect tried to bow out without buying, he saw that child standing there in the old mill in defiance of the master. And he said to himself, I have got to make this sale. The better portion of all sales he made were after people had said no. So, and that's a hard one for me because I have a very difficult time with people pleasing. And so when, someone tells me no, I want to run off with my tail between my legs. When in reality, it's not just being pushy or anything like that. It's understanding what that person needs and taking the time to hear them and to reframe, what you're doing to help them, and to know that you need to make the sale. So that's really, once you know that in your mind, you don't hear no anymore. So Mr. Darby, he's the one that sold his mine 3 feet before millions. And what he said is that the experience of stopping 3 feet before gold taught him to keep on keeping on, no matter how hard the going may be. He had to learn this lesson before he could ever succeed in anything. I just want to say my experience with this has been intense. Even still, like making these videos, some days it just seems like I can't even record. Like everything goes wrong. It's so true. And I just have to keep going on. I have to let go of perfection, trying to make these perfect. Like, my lighting just went out. I filmed anyway. I got my lighting back on now, and it's gonna be funny throughout the video. But you know what? I'm just keeping going because the message that what we're doing here is more important than a light going off and on, right? It can be annoying, but I can't let it trip me up. And like, those are some of the things that, you know, my perfectionism will trip me up. And I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I just have to keep moving forward to make sure that I get done what I want to get done, you know, even when 1,000 things go wrong. So and that's where your determination is, like that pull, that drive. So let's move on. All right. Mr. Darcy profited by his 2 experiences that were extreme failures because he analyzed them and then he found the lesson. The lesson is that no matter if he fails, like he could have just hit gold and hit millions, and he sold the mine. And then he had to go be like an insurance salesman or something after that. I mean, he could have let that destroy him, but he didn't. And he analyzed the situations and he learned the lessons. The concept of the book says that one sound idea is all you need to succeed. To me, that resonates with me with like stay out of the shiny object syndrome. Because once you get this idea that maybe, you know, okay, so you want $1 million, you want security, right? And then you have this great idea of how you're going to get there. Stick to it, no matter what. Because if you constantly keep changing that idea, you can never fully materialize it. And so, I mean, it can change along the way, but you want to be in that place where, you know, that idea, you nurture it to where it has time to grow and bloom. So one sound idea is all you need to succeed. That's what it made me think of right when I just said it. So I'm going to go with that. And that's my insights, but that's what it says. One sound idea is all you need to succeed. When riches begin to come, they come so quickly in such great abundance that one wonders where they had been hiding during all those lean years. I have to tell you that this is 1,000% true. And for me, this happened as soon as I got out of my poverty consciousness, my failure consciousness. And one of the points in the book is so huge in that, and it says, the object of this book is to help all who seek to learn the art of changing their minds from failure consciousness to success consciousness. This is something that I specialize in, and it is something that I have learned how to master the art of this. It's not easy work. You could call it manifestation, but it is a failure consciousness to success consciousness. That's all it takes. You changing your consciousness. And that involves quite a bit of everything. But it is possible, and it is, I believe that it can be so much easier. I think I just I resisted so hard in it myself. I wanted to stay in that failure consciousness, and so, yeah, I made it a little bit more difficult on myself. Oh, that's for sure. But I think for myself, it was just that I didn't understand what I could do. And so I had to really kind of learn that I know how to switch my mind from failure to success consciousness. And with that specialization, that skill, I can help anyone do it. So, hence why I'm reading this book again, hence why I'm sharing it, hence why we're doing this study together, because it is my passion. It has always been my passion to help people change their consciousness to where things just flow to them instead of having to like do all this crazy stuff. All right. So, plus you like, unless you realize that that's where you're stuck, that's where the problem is, you can never get there, because that failure, you may think you can move forward, but that failure consciousness will stop you every time. So you have to change your thoughts. You have to reframe thoughts. All right. And not just thoughts either. It's like feelings, it's subconscious. It's really diving deep and doing some of that work. So you can do it though. Another weakness found in altogether too many people is the habit of measuring everything and everyone by their own impressions and beliefs. Okay. I could go a million years on this one. I've done it. It's a form of judging others, right? You just got to let that go and focus on you. Focus on you, focus on you, focus on you. Because we can never understand whatever it looks like on the outside, it can be something totally different than what's going on in the inside. Everyone has their own personal journey, and it just needs to be played out. And it's not our responsibility, it is not our job to look at anyone and measure anything by our own impressions and beliefs, okay? So that is a weakness that if you are doing that, just step away from it. You have to become conscious of it. That means becoming conscious of it is not saying, oh, I don't do that. Becoming conscious of it is saying, oh yeah, I do that. And you know what? I struggle with that. So, okay, let me start to become more aware of when I do it. And instead I'll focus on myself. Instead I'll throw myself into creating something amazing instead of focusing on other people. It's really hard. It is really hard to be conscious of your own stuff. All right. Okay, so this is something I love so much. Let me highlight this as a main point, because the object of it's learning the art of changing your mind from failure consciousness to success consciousness. That is the object of this book. That's it. You got this. You got this. Okay? All right, everyone looked at Henry Ford's accomplishments in envy and wanted to know the secrets to his success. This can be summed up to his determination. He said, I want it and I'll have it. Henry Ford is a success because he understands and applies the principles of success. One of this is desire, and that is knowing what one wants. So this goes back to a story about Henry Ford wanting to build the V8 engine. And he told his engineers, build it. And they told him it's impossible. And he said, well, I don't care, do it anyway. And then he said, I want it and I'll have it. It was that determination that he knew it was going to happen. He knew it could happen. And it was years before it happened. So he had to constantly tell them, just keep going. Bring me something different. Try something else. It worked. But everyone looked at Henry Ford's accomplishments in envy. They wanted to know his secret to success. And it's funny because I had a lady, 9 or 10 years ago, ask me, how do you do all of this on your own? Meaning I was a single mom at the time. And how I did it on my own. Because to her, it just looked like I easily was successful at whatever I did. And that's true, I was. And it was literally, I remember thinking in my head when she asked me that, I remember thinking, I don't even know. Like I just do it. And I had to go on a journey to understand how it is that I do what I do, but it's literally comes down to this exact same quotes in this book, that it's, I always knew exactly what I wanted and I went after it. And I never let failure set me back. I just, some other way would come up, something would happen. Like I was always able to just break through those moments. And so that's what it is. It's like, if you think you can't even do that, then you won't be able to. And then you become dependent, right? On the system, the government, your parents, friends, a boyfriend, a husband, a girlfriend, a wife. Like, you become dependent and you cannot be free in that. To be empower yourself, be independent, know you can do it. So, and that's part of that poverty failure consciousness, right? I would even call it codependent consciousness as well. Like, there is a huge need to understand the difference between poverty, wealth, failure, success, codependence, and having your own independence. So, when we, it just brings me back to how sad it is that none of us were taught this in school. None of us understand these principles, and I don't know. It just really gets me going, because we're all kind of conditioned. You got to get out of this conditioning too, that, we're all raised to be employees, and that's basically what school's teaching you to do. And I find that is very true, because all you're doing in school is learning to follow orders, do what they tell you to do to succeed. And when that no longer applies, when you get out of high school and there's no one to tell you what to do to succeed anymore, you're lost. I know, because I was that soul, completely lost. Completely lost. And I knew I didn't want to be like a 9-to-5 employee the rest of my life. I knew that, because there's not much way to succeed as far as extreme wealth goes. There's not many employees that are super wealthy to just be employees. Okay, that's funny. But right? Ding ding. All right, universal laws. This is what it says in the book. The ether in which we move and have our being is a form of energy moving at an unconceivably high rate of vibration. The ether is filled with a form of universal power which adapts itself, I'm totally reading, to the nature of the thoughts we hold in our minds, and influences us to transmute our thoughts into the physical equivalent. Okay. So in the book, it says that they wish that someone would have explained this better. That the ether in which we move and have our being is a form of energy moving at a very high rate of vibration. The ether is filled with a form of universal power which adapts itself to the nature of the thoughts we hold in our minds and influences us to transmute our thoughts into the physical equivalent. All right. So, if you could close your eyes and see the Matrix, that's the reality. Like, how cool is that? All you have to do is understand that everything is energy, vibration, and frequency. And once you are aligned with that, everything you want just comes to you. The universal power makes no attempt to discriminate between destructive and constructive thoughts, that it will urge us to translate into physical reality thoughts of poverty, just as quick as it will influence us to act upon thoughts of riches. Can you imagine you had a wealth consciousness mind, but you were poverty stricken? That is a contradiction of nature. Because it can't be. Consciousness means that you are in alignment with that through energy, frequency, and vibration. So it's the statement, as within, so without. It means that if you are aligned with wealth consciousness in mind, body, and spirit, then it must be on your outer reality. Otherwise, we would die. We couldn't comprehend, that couldn't happen. So it is the same thing with poverty as well. Okay, so it's on a consciousness, doesn't mean just, oh, I think a couple things and it's going to happen. No. It is a complete transformation of your energy, your frequency, your vibration, which can hurt sometimes. It is worth every second because you know that you're still moving towards something that you want, right? It's all worth it. It's like having a baby. You know the pain that's involved with having a child, like physically giving birth. You know the pain, but the agony of months and then hours in labor, and then poof, there's a child. And all of that pain and agony, and I'm talking months and months, was worth every single second, because now you have that child with you. And it's a miracle. And it's like, so it's the same thing. To transform consciousness takes that, if I can use the analogy of like giving birth, right? Takes that much like struggle and pain and process, because it's a complete transformation of your energy. Truly about the inner world. And that's what Think and Grow Rich is all about. It's like your inner world will create your outer world, but you have to focus on the inner first. It's like that think. If you realize that you're having these destructive thoughts, if you realize that your outer world is poverty stricken or constantly struggling or fighting or whatever, then it's time to transform yourself. Okay. Let's see. Our brains become magnetized with the dominating thoughts that we hold in our minds. Before we can accumulate riches in great abundance, we must magnetize our minds with intense desire for riches. We must become money conscious until the desire for money drives us to create definite plans for acquiring it. So again, money consciousness. For so long, I thought that money was not good. And so I stopped going after it. Because I was just like, well, there's other more important things in the world. Not really. Money is what puts food in your mouth. Money is what creates the home that you have. Money brings security. And this is the world that we live in. That piece of paper, if it were something else, you would value that just as much. If it was gold, if it was trading something, if it was, but it is a piece of paper, and we just have to realize that it's energy. But what it is, it's value. And once you value your inner self so much that your self-worth is on point, that you value what is like your health, your mind, your body, your spirit, that is money consciousness, because it brings that to you. It brings more of that to you. When you start valuing yourself, then value comes to you. It's crazy. I know it's, and I mean money, right? Money starts coming to you when you realize that your worth is gold inside, My husband explains this funny. He tells me that like gold cannot lose its value. And so sometimes I'll tell myself that I'm gold inside, that my self-worth is inside of me. No matter what anyone says to me, no matter what anyone does, no matter if I don't have money, no matter if, like, my worth it's built in me. It's gold. It can't lose its value. No matter whether I'm rich or poor or skinny or fat or pretty or ugly, it doesn't lose it on the inside. Another main point is to maintain a spirit of open-mindedness. And remember that this book took the life experiences of more than 500 men who actually accumulated riches in huge amounts, men that began in poverty with little education or influence. So this is possible, okay? If you're living in poverty, if you don't have education, if you don't have influence, but you know that you want a different life, you know you can feel it, you know it's possible, then it's already in you, and it is possible. The next chapter contains factual information that might easily change your entire financial destiny. You will find the principles easy, not hard to do. So that's a quote from the book. That the next chapter contains factual information that might easily change your entire financial destiny. Open your mind. Let's open our minds to accept in wealth consciousness, to accept in money consciousness, to accept in health consciousness, because every single one of us deserves wealth. Every single one of us deserves health. Every single one of us deserves to live a magical life that this entire world is. If you are like me and you have watched this video, but you know that you'll forget certain things, I have taken the main points and highlighted them and kind of thrown them in an ebook. Now, if you would like a copy of this ebook, I would ask you to please send me an email. My email is in the description of the YouTube video below, and send me an email just saying, yes, I want the chapter 1 notes. And I will send you an email with the notes back. The reason that I'm doing this is so that I don't have to set up a whole bunch of tech if not that many people want a copy of the notes. So if you would like a copy of the notes, that way you can just refer back to them quickly instead of having to go through the whole book. I would love to send them to you. So send me an email, just ask for the notes. So now I would like to hear from you. This should be somewhat of an interactive study. So in the comments, tell me about what your thoughts are on these concepts, and if you have had any crazy manifestation stories, want to talk about dealing with temporary defeat and how you overcame that. I would love for you to be able to share in the comments anything that can help someone else along their journey would be great, or just tell me how your day is. Either way, I appreciate you so much for watching this and joining in this. And you know, you never know what's going to resonate with you. Even if you aren't fully in this study, it may be just one thing that was said. So your homework from week 1 was to determine exactly what you want. Get really clear. Your homework is to understand your burning desire for that thing, which is your why, right? And it used to drive me crazy when people would say, what's your why? Well, it is very important, because that's what creates the burning desire. For me, I want wealth for security. So my burning desire is security. And that's why I want that particular thing. But it is the burning desire that will continue to drive me through defeat, through hard times, through struggle, through all that stuff. So get your burning desire. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and share this video for anyone who may be feeling temporary defeat or their dreams and wishes are not coming true. Send them this video. thank you again so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. And just remember for next week when we go over chapter 2, that your clarity, knowing exactly what you want, doesn't matter what it is or what anyone thinks. It could be $1 billion, it could be whatever it is you want. And then come up with your burning desire. And remember that your thoughts and your mindset and what you're feeling, it all translates into energy. And this world, we create our reality with our thoughts, our feelings, our emotion, our heart. And remember, all of that is just energy, frequency, and vibration. So if any of that is not aligned, just become aware of that, and we're going to work on it in these next coming weeks. So stay tuned for week 2. See you then. Bye.